Arya Stark was never an ordinary girl. From the very first time we saw her, she was different from everyone around her. She didn't fit into the world of lords, ladies, and endless rules. She wanted freedom. She wanted to choose her own path. And maybe that is why so many people believe Arya was always meant to kill the Night King. When we look back at her journey carefully, we see that everything in her life seems to lead to that one moment on the cold night at Winterfell. It feels almost as if destiny had chosen her, not Jon Snow, not Daenerys, not anyone else, to end the greatest threat the world had ever faced. The Night King was the most terrifying enemy anyone could imagine. He was not just a man. He was death itself, walking. Wherever he went, armies of the dead followed. He did not speak, but he did not need to. His message was simple: everyone living would die, and he would raise them to serve him. For years, people in Westeros ignored the threat. They were busy fighting their own wars, playing their own games for power. But in the cold north, where Arya was born, people always whispered about what lived beyond the wall. She grew up hearing stories about monsters in the dark, dead men with blue eyes, and ancient heroes who fought to protect the realm. Maybe those stories planted something deep inside her, a silent call that would only make sense much later. Arya's journey was not like anyone else's. She saw death up close from a young age. She watched her father beheaded. She lost her family one by one, forced to wander alone, hiding who she was just to stay alive. Most people would have broken under that pain, but Arya did not. Every loss only sharpened her. It was as if life was training her for something far bigger than revenge. While everyone else was fighting for thrones and crowns, Arya was learning about survival, about death, about becoming invisible. She learned to move without being seen, to strike without hesitation. The world was shaping her into a weapon. When Arya found her way to Braavos, her training became something even more mysterious. She joined the Faceless Men, a group of killers who served the god of death. They taught her everything about disguise, silence, and patience. They turned her into a shadow that could slip past guards, walk through a crowd, and strike her target before anyone even noticed. Most people thought Arya's time with the Faceless Men was just part of her revenge story. They believed she was only training to kill the people on her list. But maybe there was more to it. Maybe she was learning the exact skills she would need to face someone far more dangerous than Cersei or Walder Frey. The Night King was not an enemy who could be beaten by strength alone. He was too powerful, too inhuman. He could kill a dragon with a single spear. He could raise the dead with a simple gesture. No army could outnumber him, no warrior could face him directly. Even Jon Snow, who had faced him once and lived, could not match him in battle. If the Night King was going to fall, it had to be in a way he did not expect. That is where Arya comes in. She was small, quick, and silent. She could move through the shadows while everyone else was distracted. She was the only one who could get close enough to strike where it mattered. Many people think Arya killing the Night King was just a shocking twist. But if we look closely, the clues were always there. From the very beginning, Arya was connected to death in a way no one else was. Her journey with the Faceless Men was about learning to accept death, to see it not as an enemy but as a part of life. The god she served in Braavos was the god of death, the one who takes everyone eventually. The Night King was the one who twisted death into something unnatural, something cruel. Maybe Arya was chosen by death itself to restore the balance, to end the endless night the Night King wanted to bring. Even Arya's weapon seems important. When Gendry made her the dragonglass spear, it was not just another tool. It was light, quick, made for someone who fought with speed instead of strength. It could be taken apart and used in close combat. It was perfect for one strike, the kind of strike that could decide the fate of the world. It feels like everything was preparing Arya for that exact moment. The right place, the right weapon, the right enemy. Think about the scene at Winterfell. The dead were everywhere. The living were falling one by one. The Night King walked slowly as if nothing could stop him. When he reached Bran, it felt like the end. Then Arya came flying out of the darkness. She did not come from the front where he could see her. She came from behind, out of nowhere, like a shadow. That was her gift, the thing she had trained for all her life. She dropped her weapon, switched hands, and struck. The Night King shattered into ice. The army of the dead collapsed. In a single moment, Arya saved everyone. It almost feels too perfect to be an accident. Out of all the people in the world, Arya was the one who had the courage, the skill, and the speed to make that move. Jon was busy fighting the undead dragon. Daenerys was trapped, watching her army be destroyed. No one else could have reached Bran in time. Arya was not just in the right place at the right time, she was exactly where she was meant to be. Her whole life had been leading her there. Every step, every loss, every lesson was part of her becoming the one person who could defeat the Night King. Her story was not about sitting on a throne or ruling a kingdom. It was about protecting the world from the deadliest threat it had ever faced. Arya was never meant to be a queen. She was meant to be a hero, the kind who comes in the last moment, when all hope is gone, and changes everything. What makes this theory even more powerful is the idea that the Night King might have sensed Arya coming. When she charged him, he turned at the last second, almost catching her. It was as if he felt her presence, as if he knew this small, quiet girl was the only real danger to him. But even then, he could not stop her. Arya was faster than death itself. If we accept that Arya was always meant to kill the Night King, then her story becomes something much bigger. It is not just about a girl who wanted revenge. It is about someone chosen by fate, trained by pain, and turned into the perfect weapon to save the living. It makes every moment of her journey feel more meaningful. Her time in Bravos, her training with the sword, her ability to move unseen, all of it comes together in that one strike. And maybe that is what makes Arya's victory so satisfying. It was not the strongest man who won. It was not the chosen prince or the mother of dragons. It was a girl who had been underestimated all her life, a girl who had fought to survive when no one believed she could. She did not just kill the Night King. She ended the long night, brought back the dawn, and proved that destiny does not always choose the obvious hero. Arya's victory over the Night King is more than just a shocking moment. When we look closer, it feels like a story that was carefully built from the start. Everything about it carries meaning, from who Arya is, to what the Night King represents, to why no one else could have been the one to end him. It is almost as if the entire world of the living had been waiting for Arya to strike that final blow. The Night King represented something bigger than just an enemy army. He was the end of everything. He was cold, silent, unstoppable. He wanted to erase all memory, all history, all life. Killing him was not simply about winning a war. It was about protecting the very idea of hope. That is why Arya's moment matters so much. She did not just stab a villain, she defended the future. She made sure there would still be songs, families, children, and a world to live in. The Night King wanted darkness forever. Arya brought back the dawn. When we think about the other characters, it becomes even clearer that they were never meant to kill the Night King. Jon Snow was the one everyone expected. He had fought the dead before. He warned the Seven Kingdoms that the real war was in the north. He looked like the classic hero. But in the battle for Winterfell, Jon was blocked by the undead dragon. No matter how brave he was, he could not get to Bran. Jon's role was to bring everyone together, to make sure the North, the Vale, and Daenerys' army stood as one. He was the leader, but not the finisher. Daenerys had the dragons, the only living creatures that could truly match the Night King's power. Her fire destroyed hundreds of whites, but even her dragonfire could not burn him. If she had killed him from the sky, it would have been too easy, too simple. The Night King's death had to be personal. It had to be close, almost face to face, like life itself fighting back against death. And that was Arya's gift, to move close without being seen, to strike at the perfect moment. Even Bran, whom many believed was the key to defeating the Night King, did not lift a finger in the fight. He simply waited. It was as though he knew what was coming. He told Theon that he was a good man, then watched as Theon made his final stand. And then he waited some more. It almost felt like Bran was calm because he had already seen Arya's move in his visions. Maybe he knew that she was the one meant to save him, the one meant to save everyone. Her strike was not random. It was the answer to the question the entire series had been asking. Who will stop the endless night? What makes Arya so fascinating is that she was not chosen because of prophecy or bloodline. She was not the prince that was promised. She did not have royal blood. She was chosen because she became exactly what was needed. She forged herself through loss, pain, and training. She became deadly but also compassionate, strong but also quiet. The Night King was a being of pure death, cold and merciless. Arya understood death but did not worship it. She accepted it as part of life. That gave her something the Night King could never have: balance. Even her choice of attack carries meaning. She leapt out of the shadows as if death itself had come for the Night King. But she did not hesitate. She switched hands in midair and stabbed him with precision. It was not rage, not anger, not chaos. It was clean, perfect, final. The same way the Faceless Men taught her to end a life, with respect and certainty. The Night King had killed countless people, turning them into his puppets. Arya gave him an ending. She returned death to its natural state, breaking his unnatural control over the dead. This moment also changes how we see Arya's list. For years, her list was about revenge. She wanted to kill the people who had hurt her family. It was a dark path that could have consumed her. But killing the Night King took her beyond revenge. It made her a protector, not just an avenger. She did not save the world for herself. She saved it for everyone, even for people she once hated. That was a moment of growth, a sign that she had become something greater than just a girl with a list of names. Some fans argue that Arya's victory was too sudden, that it should have been Jon Snow who did it. But that is what makes her win so powerful. Arya was the last person the Night King would have expected. She was not the one who stood out in prophecy, not the one the lords and ladies were watching. She came from the shadows, from nowhere. In a way, she was like death itself, quiet, unseen, unstoppable when it arrived. That surprise was her greatest weapon. If Jon had faced the Night King in single combat, the outcome would have been too obvious, too predictable. Arya's strike was a shock, but a satisfying one, because it fit everything we had learned about her. After the battle, Arya does not boast about what she did. She does not call herself a hero. She simply moves on to the next part of her journey. That is another reason her victory feels right. Arya does not want glory. She does not want power. Her reward is survival, the chance to keep living, to keep exploring. In that way, she is the perfect answer to the Night King, who wanted everything frozen and dead forever. Arya's future is full of life and possibility. She sails west, into the unknown, proving that life always finds a way to move forward. If we look at the entire story as a puzzle, Arya and the Night King are two pieces that fit together perfectly. He was the threat that no one else could beat. She was the assassin no one else could be. The story needed both of them to collide at the exact right moment. When they did, the result was one of the most unforgettable moments in television history. It was not just the death of a villain. It was the ending of a 1,000-year fear, the breaking of an unstoppable force. Some even believe that the gods of the story, the old gods, the many-faced god, maybe even the Lord of Light, were working together to guide Arya. Melisandre's words to Arya before the battle were not just encouragement, they were like a reminder of the path she had always been on. Close blue eyes forever. End death forever. She was not just fighting for herself, but for the will of something greater. This is why the theory that Arya was always meant to kill the Night King feels so right. It makes her entire journey make sense, not as a series of random events but as steps toward destiny. It gives meaning to her training, to her suffering, to her courage. It explains why she survived when so many others did not. The story of Arya Stark is the story of a girl who grew into the one person capable of saving the world. It was never about her becoming queen or sitting in power. It was always about her becoming exactly what the world needed in its darkest hour. In the end, Arya's victory reminds us of something important. Sometimes the smallest person can make the biggest difference. Sometimes the one no one notices is the one who saves everyone. And sometimes, destiny does not choose the loudest hero, but the quietest. That is why Arya's strike will always feel like more than just a twist. It was the moment everything was leading to. The moment a girl from Winterfell became the hand of fate, and with one move, turned the long night into a memory. And that's the end of this theory. Arya Stark's journey was never random. It was a path carved by fate, leading to the one moment where she saved all of Westeros. The Night King was death itself, and Arya became the only one who could stop him. What do you think? Was Arya always meant to kill the Night King, or was it just a twist to surprise us? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite stories.